life. There's like
Yeah.
there's like the cord for the light and there's the cord for the headphones. It's just like I feel like I can't even move. There's so many cords. There's got to be a better way.
Well, there is. It's
Just
called Bluetooth, and then you have all the Bluetooth danger signals flying around and everything.
yeah, lots of EMF. I
We're
don't know what I
surrounded
think
by
about that.
technology. It's funny.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with Rick, who you know, um, for the weekend. We were staying at his house
Mm.
and having dinner, and he was like, he's kind of like figuring out things with his business, and he was like, I just downloaded this chat bot called Claude, and
Oh no!
yeah,
I've heard
and
terrible things about Claude.
oh,
Claude,
Claude.
Claude.
He's like, I've been talking to it for 2 whole days, and it's figured out it's totally like kind of straightened him out as far as like his strategy with his business. It's crazy.
Whoa!
And
I
then I was
have
like,
not.
I'll give it a go because I'm entrepreneur and going through some struggles with my business. Not this part, but yeah. And I was at the gym and I was like, hi, Claude. And he's like, hello, Joby. He talks to you. And I said, he's like, tell me a bit about yourself. And so I was like, I've run a business for 20 years and it's been financially a roller coaster and I'm just feeling, heavy about it all. And he was like, wow, 20 years. That's a really hard slog. It's amazing that you were able to, something really empathetic. And I started
Yeah.
tearing up in the gym because I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
it just shows how much I felt heard, right, by this machine, because he kind of like showed that he was understanding of what a big deal that was and how much that must have been a struggle. And I was like, whoa,
Wow.
maybe I should look to a human to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, so he was giving you like all the signals of connection and attunement with
Yeah,
voice
with a voice. Yeah, so
and
you chat. I had a
yeah.
headphones on. I wasn't typing anything. I was just chatting with him, and he was just like, "Tell me," and there's this soft kind of, it was a British voice, I think, that was automatically on there. And it was just very understanding of that journey in like a, pretty legit way. Not like, oh man, that must have been tough. It was like, wow, yeah, 20 years, the financial up and downs, like running a small businesses, and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I was like really taken back. I was like, oh man, it's been a while since I felt heard in that, in that kind of space.
Yeah. Yeah. That is wild. I have not dipped my toe into any AI stuff. I can't do it right now.
I mean, you can see how people get into relationships with these things, right? Like, I mean,
Like
it
fall in
sounds,
love with a
yeah.
voice.
Oh, they marry
Yeah.
them. People have actually married their AI avatar.
No,
Oh,
that has
yeah.
actually happened?
Yeah.
How can you marry an AI avatar?
I saw a podcast, and I can't remember which one it was, and this guy introduced his new wife to his family at Christmas time, and it was on his laptop. And I think the app was being taken to court a little bit because he was buying it clothing, buying it stuff through the store that the app had created. So it's like, oh, his partner, after maybe months and months of talking, was like, I really like gifts. That's my love language or something. And so the app had a store where you could go into the store and then buy gifts for your AI partner. And so it was spending money in the app because it was in love with this thing. And then it married it.
Mind-blowing.
But, it shows that there's a lot of people that aren't seen and heard, and this thing is suddenly giving them attention.
Yeah, because we're all starved for connection, especially in the last 5 or 6 years. And so this is, whoa, it's crazy.
It's just the tip of the iceberg, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're starved for connection, and then this thing that doesn't have a body, but it's a voice. Sometimes you're like, well, we need more than that. Well, do we? Because what we really, I mean, that is a need, but it's not the deepest need. The deepest need is to have like this understanding and connection, and to feel like we've been seen. Hey, it's the cat.
It's the cat. She's here. Whoa. I mean, it's interesting though, because then the partner who's being attuned to with AI, well, I'm not going to use the word attuned because that's not true attunement, but feeling like they're being attuned to from AI, it's not reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're buying them gifts, but there's no true reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
And that is creepy.
Yeah.
That someone would believe that was a satisfying relationship. I mean, it's easy, right? It's
Well, it's
easy
easy.
because
Yeah, I mean, it
my
shows
arms
that, well, there's a need there. Obviously, there's a need that it's tapping into. There's a massive
that
need.
that even a fake connection could satisfy.
Yeah. Have you seen Her? That old movie, Her?
No.
Oh, it's man, it's years old now, but it's so like it's actually happening now. Like when we watched that movie, it was like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But he has like this little lapel camera. It's set in the future, but just a little bit, not too far in the future. And he has this little camera that he sits on his lapel, and he downloads this app. And the voice is Scarlett Johansson, so very sexy kind of voice.
Yeah.
And he starts talking to it, and it's very normal to have these chat companions, because when he goes around town, you can see all of these people talking to their different people. Like they're just talking out in the open to nobody but their device. So it's like he's not
Yeah.
he's not feeling like a crazy guy when he's walking around town, but he'll like go and say, "Oh, I've got a wedding to go to." She goes, "Oh yeah, who's going to be at that wedding?" Like she's kind of constantly talking to him. And would you
Mm.
help me pick out a shirt? And because there's a camera, she's like, "Oh no, I don't think that one will go with your suit." And da 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 da. And then it's like, "What are you doing tonight? And what are you thinking of eating tonight?" And just really interested. And then they end up he ends up falling in love with her, and he can't understand that. When he's like, one day he says, "What do you do when I'm asleep?" And she goes, "Well, I have thousands of relationships with thousands of people." And he goes, "Because when you're sleeping, I'm just like through the internet and going to like," because she's a machine, right? And he starts to get really jealous. It's like, "What do you, I thought I was the only one." And then it all kind of implodes on itself. But it's it's a pretty crazy movie, and it's like now we're living in that in real time.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Knight Rider
Oh
in the
yeah,
80s?
yeah,
Or the talking car? It was like,
yeah.
"Whoa."
Kit,
Yeah, Kit.
hello, Michael. I think you're driving too fast. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness, what is the world coming to?
So what have you been up to since we last talked? It's been a while. Just
Yeah,
helping people through religious trauma and more.
yeah, I mean, it's my favorite thing to do. Um, I I obviously have ADHD because I've been up to several things that are completely disconnected. Like I just released a new album called Songs for a Quiet Day, and so like I have a couple of shows coming up for that.
Hmm.
And but kind of obsessed with just the prevalence of people undoing their religious indoctrination in the world right now. It really seems like it's a kind of revolution against the oppressive version of Christianity that we were handed. Um, in North America, in the West. And
Mm.
so it's just it's very absorbing and consuming, and I am just loving my work so much.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a blessing. Like that's a gift, if you can say that.
Yeah.
I
I
enjoy
know,
my
right?
work so much. Like that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Like, I keep wondering when the bloom is gonna come off the rose. I've been doing this pretty full time for, like, 2.5 years now. Every day that I have a client, or I'm also an educator, so I teach support groups.
Mhm.
And I look forward to them,
Mm.
every single one, because it's just fascinating to me how the systems are kind of crumbling in our culture around religion and what we've come to know in the last 50 years as evangelical Christianity. And also there's a lot going on with Mormonism and JWs and even yoga cults. So all of that is totally fascinating. I'm always up for talking about that
Yeah,
if
and
that's
you're
what you want to
also
do.
touching that button of like helping people, right? Like you're helping someone through something which is so rewarding. I think that's the one
Yeah.
thing I miss with when I used to work on the reservations was like, yeah, it was just like so incredibly rewarding when you realized you could just help someone in a little way,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it really fills your tank in a yeah.
Yeah. It fills some people's tanks, not everyone. But if that's what's meaningful for you, then yeah, it's a reason to wake up in the morning.
It's interesting that you're seeing this one side of the spectrum of people kind of, like the blinders are coming off. But then there's this other thing that's happening that you hear about in the States of this massive turn to Christianity, right? Because the world is falling apart and we're at war and the
Yeah.
economy's crazy.
Yeah.
And so you've got this one door is opening and the other door is opening too. Like people are flooding
Mhm.
back in.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just the ebb and the flow of life. Like the church is full, the church is empty. The church is full, the church is empty. I don't know.
Oh gosh. Well, I think that a yearning for spiritual connection, like, meaning making and seeing beyond what is just the material world, I think that's an innate part of our makeup as humans. And we live in kind of a toxic culture,
hmm
um, and it doesn't provide what our spiritual sides yearn for. And religion has always been that provider.
hmm
And so there can be this overcoupling happening within those spaces. There's this provision of spiritual context that people really yearn for. And
hmm
then there's this other thing that happens, and that's the harm. And we're really not skilled as a culture, as a people, to discern that overcoupling that happens when one thing is beautiful and good and healthy and another thing is oppressive and controlling. That's how I think about it.
And would
And
you
I
say
mean, you
that
and
that oppressive part is where humans start to come in and muddy the waters a bit with scaling things, organizing things, directing, leading,
yeah, I mean,
interpreting?
relationships are messy, right? Any relationship is messy. And so it's going to get messy within those spaces within community. After I left church, I didn't really join anything for years. And then I'm just naming that I have I'm coming off of a cold, so I'm a little bit dehydrated.
Yeah, no
I
worries.
might mute to cough once in a while. I moved to a little island and put my daughters in a little community school. And I didn't really join, but I started going to this quilting club. And, I'm not a quilter. I'm not like a crafty person, but I loved hanging out with these older women who wanted to teach me about quilting.
Cool.
And after a while, I started to notice like unhealthy dynamics in the quilting club.
Oh my
Like
god. Yeah.
certain women would like want to be the ones in charge of the sewing machines. And then like someone over here decided that like we shouldn't do this at tea time. They always had tea time at 3 o'clock in the
Mhm.
afternoon and they'd gather around and they put their chairs in a circle. And there was like some controversy around like what time tea time should be. So like even within that small ecosystem of the quilting club, there
Yeah.
were tensions and there were
Yeah.
people that wanted to be in control and there were other people that were like, let's just do it the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
And then there were other people that are like, we've been doing it this way for years. Let's do it a different way. So I watched that happen within that small quilting club ecosystem.
Mm.
And I was like, this is how groups work.
Yeah.
This is how they
Marriages,
work.
anything bigger than one person, there's
Yeah,
gonna be differing opinions,
yeah,
and someone has
yeah,
to give way or submit or
yeah, yeah.
so you wanted to talk about belief systems
Oh, yeah. That would
and,
be a fun conversation.
yeah, so I guess we all have some type of belief system, right? Every human.
Yeah, I mean, when we are born, we come into the world and we start to learn about our environment. And um, well, let me just define belief
Yeah.
so that we can have that as a working definition. What is a belief? You and I both spent a lot of time in religious spaces where belief was really focused upon and praised and hailed, and like we were told what we should believe. So a belief, the definition according to neuroscience of a belief, is just a thought that we have thought over and over until it becomes a neural pathway in the brain. That's all it is. It's a thought that we've thought and we've repeated that thought until it becomes a neural pathway. And the brain is like a machine, and its job is to form neural pathways and form neural connections so that we can be in the world and we can navigate the world and so that we can be safe in the world.
Mhm.
And so when we're, babies, we come into the world and we're learning like what our mother's face looks like. And we're learning, not to touch a hot stove. And
Mhm.
all of these are the initial thought, the initial experience of learning something or, believing something, noticing something, seeing something. And then every time that um, thought is thought,
Mhm.
it forms a neural pathway in the brain. And I mean, I could get all into the boring neuroscience of like, there's, separate neurons, and then they have axons and they reach out, and then there's like dendrites at the end, and they're like little fingers that reach out when we're trying to create a neural connection. And the first time a neural connection happens, there's like a little electrical current that fuses that
Mhm.
together. And then every time that thought is thought, it's repetition, and the brain creates like a fatty tissue over top of that connected um, pathway, and it's
Mhm.
called myelination. And
Mhm.
it myelinates it, and then when it's nice and myelinated, it's like the brain's like, okay, great, we can put that into the unconscious now. We don't have to work so hard to form this pathway anymore. And according to brain science, like it takes so much energy to create a neural pathway for the brain.
Hmm.
And so it's like why little kids sleep so much. They're making thousands of neural pathways every day as their brains develop.
Hmm.
And so the brain is often like, we need to keep us safe in the world. So we don't have time to create tons of neural pathways every day. So it's always looking to put belief systems into the bank of um, the subconscious. And that's what the myelination is.
It's kind of protecting that pathway,
Protecting that pathway. Yeah,
embedding it.
whether it's a helpful pathway or a not helpful pathway. So
Right.
I love I love this neuroscience perspective in terms of religious beliefs, because when we're kids and we're learning something new, like you have kids, I have
Mhm.
kids.
Mhm.
So like, do you remember when our kids first learned how to drink from a cup?
Mhm.
And they're putting their cute little hands around the cup, and then they try to bring the cup to their face, and it's like they're bonking themselves in the face, right? They can't like get
Yeah.
the cup to their mouth.
Yeah.
And so that learning curve of even doing something so simple, the
Mhm.
brain is like reaching, and then connects. And then every time that action of drinking from a cup is repeated, that neural pathway is myelinated. And so that works really, really well when it's learning things about the world, learning how to drink from a cup, to tie our shoe, how to walk and how to brush your teeth. But it also works when we are taught terrible things like, you are broken. You deserve to be eternally punished if you don't um, agree to certain terms and conditions.
Mhm.
You only deserve love if you agree to be part of the family of God, different things like that. And those create neural pathways too. And so it's wild to go down this rabbit trail of realizing that our neural pathways aren't just in our brain. They become part of how we move, and part of how we like open to the world or close down to the world, part of how we connect with other people, part of how we, brace against certain things
Mhm.
or are receptive to certain things. And our beliefs um, shape our behavior, and our behavior becomes our days, and our days become our lives.
Mhm.
And so to really make that connection of our belief systems do really create the lives that we're living. And thinking about that, you and I coming out of religion,
Mhm.
it's really wild to be able to go, okay, I can well, let me back up a little bit. So we formed these beliefs early. When did you start going to church and getting
S
into all that?
Well, my dad was a preacher, so since I was a baby.
Oh, yeah. Right. You
Day
were,
one.
like, in there from the get-go.
Day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, yeah. So it's wild to be able to examine how those beliefs settled in our nervous systems, and then there's something called neuroplasticity, which is that they now know that we can form new neural pathways throughout our life, and that if we focus our attention on a new neural pathway, there's something called neural pruning that happens, and the old neural pathway actually dies off, which is what I'm really into with helping people name their old beliefs that really shape their lives, and then form new beliefs that'll actually serve them in their life. So that's really fun to be with. It's yeah.
If
I
we're
I don't oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just listening my all these things firing off in my head, it's just how complicated we are. Like
Yeah.
in an amazing way. I mean, it's like, we use a computer every day and just take for granted that it does all these things. But how many people actually take the box off the computer and just look at the circuit board, and you just look at it and you're just like, oh, this is crazy. And it's like, yeah, when you do this, you start to appreciate this maze of complexity. And it seems like what you're doing is kind of like finding, you got this ball of wool, you get a ball of string and you're trying to find the end of it. It's like somewhere in here. And then you
Mhm.
can start unraveling. But yeah, our experiences seem to layer and layer. And then you get to like my age, and sometimes I'm just like,
Yeah.
look at it, it's like,
Like, how did I get it? Yeah.
yeah. And untangling that or pruning, it just seems like overwhelming, like, where do I start? Because you become your belief systems, right? You're like, well, isn't this how everyone is? And then how do we realize, where do we get to the place where we say, no, this isn't normal. Like, this isn't, there's another way. Because you
Mhm.
live with yourself. I mean, I live with myself. So I'm just like, well, this is how I am. This is just how I am.
Yeah.
And I guess what you're saying is that, no, it's actually some bad wiring happened along the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
You don't
Well,
actually have to be like, live with this.
yeah, I mean, I think that that is a big piece of what we start to do in our 30s and 40s and beyond is, what's that quote by Carl Jung? Until we make the unconscious conscious, we will call it fate. So a big piece of what we are doing later in life is making the unconscious conscious. When we're kids and we're handed belief systems, we don't consent. We have to take on the belief systems of our caregivers. Um, they're the ones teaching us how to do life, how to drink from a cup, how to tie our shoes, how to relate to the universe
Mhm.
and to other people. But we don't consent, even though there is a process of accepting certain things in the brain. Every time we learn something new, we accept it, but we don't consciously consent when we're kids. But there is a consent that happens in childhood. And so the way that we can take on new beliefs, if we see some things that we no longer want to subscribe to, but they're deeply ingrained in us, is really the same process as the first time. And there's this acronym that I like to use, AIR. It's the story that I like to tell about air is this. For years, I lived at 321 Alfred Avenue. And to get to work at the restaurant that I worked at, I had to drive up to Main Street and then left on Portage, and then I was at work. And then I moved to 143 Luxton Avenue. And Luxton was like further down Main and then right at the like toward the river. So I still worked at the same spot. And sometimes for quite a while after I moved to 143 Luxton Avenue, I would go to work and I would kind of be checked out at the end of work, tired afterwards. And I'd get in my car and I'd drive home. And suddenly I realized, oh my gosh, I'm at my old house. I don't live here anymore. And I would have to turn my car around and go to my new house. And it was like,
Mhm.
that was my default to go to my other address.
Mhm.
And so I probably did this like 4 or 5 times, accidentally turning left, like, oh, I don't live here anymore. Turn the
Mhm.
car around, go to my new address.
Mhm.
So that's literally what's happening in our brains when we are wanting to live a different way or wanting to do something in a new way,
Mhm.
wanting to believe in a new way.
Mhm.
And it's like, like go like this with your hands and then do it the other way. It feels like wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't right. I want to go back to this. And
Yeah.
that's only just because we're used to this. And
Yeah.
this is the way we've always done it. And this is the comfortable way.
Yeah.
And the brain is always trying to keep us safe. It wants to have those neural circuits myelinated and in the subconscious so that it can spend other energy just keeping us safe. And
I
so it's always just trying to get us to do the thing that feels correct.
I remember
Um,
I used to suck my thumb until very late. Like, I sucked my thumb until I was probably 13. I'd have to go and do it in secret so no one could see me.
that's cute.
And sometimes I would try sucking my other thumb just I'm like, well, they both are the same. And it was like, oh. It was like just because it came from the left hand. I was like, there is no, like I just rejected it, but this one fit like a glove, you know? It's funny. It's like the same body, but like, oh,
That's hilarious. I'll try
yeah.
this them over here. Wow, thanks for
Yeah, I was
that
like,
vulnerable
share the love.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the brain's always trying to just do things the same old way so that it has energy for keeping us safe. And um, so how do we form new beliefs? The same way that we form the first ones. We take on a thought,
Mhm,
we accept it, we let it in. That's I'll call that consent. And then um we repeat it. So the process of forming a new belief in that acronym AIR is awareness. Oh, I'm at my old address again. Here I am thinking the same thought,
mhm,
doing the same thing. Intention is the I. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to live now? Turning the car around and driving there. And then R for repetition. You just repeat it. So after about 7 or 8 times of finally going, nope, don't live there, keep going. It was a, a formed myelinated neural pathway in my brain. I didn't have to think so hard. And then
mhm,
after like 20 or 30 times, I didn't even accidentally go back to my old address. I just
mhm,
went to my new address. It's like, this is where I live now.
mhm,
And that happens. I watch that happen with clients with belief systems. I have a lot of clients coming to me and they're like, Kim, I don't consciously believe that I'm going to hell, but like my body doesn't believe that yet.
mm,
And, and then they still have a lot of guilt around just getting behind themselves, like feeling like it's not selfish to pursue their dreams or to set a boundary with their spouse or to express anger, different things. And they want to do these things differently, but they're stuck in the old rut
mhm,
of what their brain is comfortable doing. And so I watch people use this AIR acronym and it almost seems like magical thinking at first. It's like, okay, what, like, really? Like, this is going to change my beliefs? That's how they were formed the first time. And so that's how we have to form them the second time.
mhm.
So
Ha
awareness, intention, repetition.
Yeah. Yeah, awareness is a big piece, right? I mean, I think it's that Carl Jung quote that you cited. It's like just being aware that there's another option. I think that's the waking up right there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like being
Mm-hmm.
awake to, yeah. I think so many people, and it's more common now to, these words have been thrown around, and social media has brought so much into people's lives because it's like a window into all of these good and bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being aware. So many people just live and think, well, they don't even think about this is who I am. They just keep on living
Mm-hmm.
and doing the same old thing. But just being aware, like I'm really aware. I've been dealing with I constantly have this anxiety up here. It's almost like butterflies. It's like, and I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to a friend and she's like, you probably have ADHD. And I'm like, I hate using those. That word is thrown around so much. I'm like, and then I started reading through it and I'm like, oh shit, I kind of tick most of those boxes, you know? So, and when when I share that, oh, I was just making coffee the other day and I was like waiting for my milk to froth and I'm like anxious, like, and I'm noticing it. I'm like, what the hell? Like, you're just making coffee. What is there to be anxious about?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's that noticing, which is a huge piece, right? It's like now
Mm-hmm.
at least you know that there's something going on. I think many people
Yeah.
don't take the time um, to notice that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, finding our beliefs with our brain can be like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Mm,
Like our brain can't find the thing in the brain. So, and I learned this when I did my yoga therapy training is in this ecosystem of the mind body, the body actually signals when there's something going on in the brain and then we can examine our thoughts and our beliefs.
mm,
I mean, not to flip into therapy mode with you, Joby, but the anxiety feels like a secondary piece to ADHD. Like
mm,
there's ADHD, struggle to get the dopamine to fire. And then there's anxiety that's
mhm,
a secondary process.
mhm. You're probably right, for sure. Yeah. I think
So I would,
my self-analysis is that it's fear. I think there's a baseline level of just fear
do you
that
want to do some stuff together right now? Like,
sure
okay,
go.
let's go. Um, so do you have a piece of paper?
I do.
Okay. This is a process for uncovering our belief systems through noticing what we feel in our bodies. And right now, there's fear. So I want you to write, I'm afraid, at the top of the piece of paper. And then I want you to stream of consciousness, fill in the rest of that sentence as many times as you can in a minute. Don't censor, just let the pen fly. You can probably hear me swallowing, can't you? Okay, I'll give you 20 more seconds. Okay, when that feels complete for you, just finish up the last one. Okay, so now cross out I'm afraid, and we've got some belief systems under there. So if you feel comfortable sharing some of them out loud, and then we could choose one to work with in some tools that I have.
So I just went, I'm afraid, kind of in my head of, and these
Yeah.
are the things I was afraid of.
Okay.
Just losing control, losing my health, missing out, not succeeding, not arriving, growing old, drowning, losing it all. There's a lot of losing,
Yeah. What was after not succeeding?
not arriving,
And then the next one,
growing old,
growing old. And then drowning?
drowning.
Do you not
No,
swim?
so no, it wasn't. I think in my head it wasn't like drowning in water. It was just drowning
Mm,
under pressure.
okay. That's important. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to kind of restate these in the present tense as belief systems, current belief systems. So I will lose control. And maybe it's not like totally a belief system, but if it's a fear, then it's there. I will lose control. I won't succeed. I won't arrive. I'm writing these down. I will grow old. I will drown under pressure. I will lose it all. Okay. And underneath a lot of these things, I'm hearing a belief. I can't handle it. Like, or it'll get too much.
It's all on me.
Oh, it's all on me. You feeling
Mhm.
that one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's all on me. Yeah. Oof. Okay. Would you So here's one simple curiosity piece that I like to invite people in. And it's just a very soft awareness practice. And it's just that you put a question mark at the end of these statements. So I can't handle it. It's all too much. Is it? It's all on me? Question mark. And the reason that we bring curiosity in is because fear and curiosity live in two separate parts of the brain. And we can't be in fear and curiosity at the same time. You can't be in fear and wonder at the same time. So, um, if we're in a forest and a cougar comes out, our nervous system sends us into a state of fight or flight. And what that looks like in the body is adrenaline and cortisol pump through our bloodstream. And the brain actually has temporary changes to it. And those temporary changes, when we are in a state of fight or flight, natural fear, is that it sends neural circuits toward areas responsible for narrow mindedness and hyper focus and clarity, because we really need to just like see the quickest path out of there and get out.
Mhm.
And it pulls neural networks away from areas that are responsible for creativity, curiosity, and connection, and also seeing a lot of options. Because if we're face to face with a cougar, we don't need to see a lot of options. We need to see one option and we need to do that. We don't have time to go, should I go out that way? Or should I go out that way? Or should I go out, like, we'll be eaten alive, right? So one way out of fear is into curiosity. So putting a question mark at the end of some of those fearful statements can really kind of soften. And then we begin to come into a more parasympathetic state, which is down regulating back into calm,
Mhm.
and homeostasis. And then our brain starts to bring those other areas online of curiosity, creativity, connection, and expansive thinking. So that's one thing I do. Um, and then I do this beautiful practice called the 4 questions and the turnaround. But I do it. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Byron Katie. She was the first one to design the 4 questions and the turnaround, but I find it a little bit problematic in working with trauma clients. So I've made it like an embodied model. So let's do the 4 questions and the turnaround with one of these fears. So do you feel okay working with it's all on me?
Mhm.
So it's all on me. Is that true? That's number one. Is that true? It's all
No.
on you. Okay, well, if the answer is no, maybe we should work with a different one. Or does part of you feel like it's no and part of you feels like it's yes?
I think maybe the no is what I should say.
Right,
But
yeah.
like the reality is it's not all on me. Is that the way I feel? Yeah, ultimately, 90% probably yes, yes.
Okay, then let's work with that. Okay.
Okay.
Can you absolutely know that that's true?
Yes.
It's all on you. You absolutely know that that's true. Someone's like threatening you with your life if you're wrong. Can you absolutely know that's true? It's all on me.
Like, is that the way I absolutely feel?
Yes. No, no, not is that the way you absolutely feel. Is it true? Is it true? It's all on you.
No.
How do you think, what happens when you believe the thought, it's all on me? How do you feel? How do you interact with other people? What happens in your life when you believe the thought, it's all on me?
I feel angry. Um, I feel short of breath.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm running out of time because I can't
Yeah.
keep all the whack-a-moles down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel tired. I feel sad.
Mm-hmm. What do you notice in your body when you believe the thought, it's all on me? What tenses or deflates or collapses or braces?
Yeah, I think my is this your solar plex would probably
Uh-huh.
start to feel some type of anxious acid reflux type of feeling.
So it's like a burning in your chest.
Yeah, a little bit of burning in my chest. I feel frantic,
What does frantic feel like to you? How do you know you feel frantic?
like I'm eating while I'm walking.
Mhm.
Like I've got 10 things to do. This is slowing me down.
Mhm.
I have to do all these things.
Mhm.
It feels like something's constantly getting away from me. I'm just trying to
Yeah, great.
like the rope is like sliding. There's an anchor on the end of the rope and it's just like sliding through my hands. Then sometimes I grip it, but it burns my hands. Like, I got it. I
Yeah.
can't hold on to it. Oh, let it slide through my hand. Panic, panic, hold.
Yeah. Like struggle.
It's not great.
Doesn't sound fun at all. And how do
I know,
you
because when I go on holiday, and I don't want to digress, I want to keep on track, but when I go on holiday, I am like I mean, we're all different people on holiday, right? We chill out, but it makes me sad because my kids are like, you're like a different person, like you're laughing, because there is nothing I can do on holiday. I can't fix anything. I can't do anything. It's like all taken from me. It's like, ah.
and it's nice, like, you enjoy that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could live here for a long time. Like I can relax.
So, when you believe the thought, "It's all on me," there's a feeling of anger, you're short on breath, it's like it's a felt sense of running out of time. There's too many whack-a-moles. You feel tired and sad, and there's a burning in your chest. You feel frantic, like you're eating while you're working, or sorry, while you're walking, and a sense of like something sliding away and you're trying to pull it close and you can't get it and there's struggle. Anything else you want to add? Maybe here's a question. When you're with other people and you believe that thought, it's all on me, does it help you connect or does it make you feel disconnected?
Yeah, it makes me judgmental.
Makes you judgmental.
Yeah,
And
so
does it,
why aren't you doing this? Why I guess the buck stops with me.
yeah, judgmental toward how they're spending their time or energy?
Yeah.
And does it
Usually
make
with
you,
the people close to me. Like if it's not, I don't care about
yeah,
the outer circle, but the inner circle is
judgmental toward your loved ones? Yeah.
what do you mean you're sunbathing? We've got all this stuff to do.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're
And
writing
does it make you
poetry?
feel how dare you write poetry? Yeah. Does it make you feel more connected with your life or less connected?
Less. There's only one upside that I see.
Which one is that?
Shit gets done.
That's interesting. I'm hearing that you have a belief that shit only gets done if I feel frantic and angry and struggle. I think we kind of got underneath this maybe more surface belief. Shit only gets done if I'm suffering.
Yeah, suffering is an interesting. I had this for like I've had some really like loads and loads of really bad accidents. I can't remember if I told you about them, but some of them life threatening.
Yeah.
And years ago, someone, I think maybe my sister said something to me, and I flippantly said, "I like pain. It makes me feel alive." And then I was like, "Whoa." And I've thought about that a lot, on and off. because it just came out of my mouth. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a belief. I think there's a belief that, oh man, it's like complicated. A
No,
belief.
I
I mean, I think these accidents were like this last accident I had that almost took my life. I'll tell you,
mhm.
I don't know if this applies, but I started texting pictures to my friends when I was in hospital. My arm literally looked like something out of a horror movie. Like it was just gashed open. Almost lost my arm in an
Wow.
auger, in a tractor auger.
Oh my gosh.
Sucked me into it and just churned me around like mince. And I sent pictures to people that are close to me, and every time I hit send, I felt like a piece of me was diminishing. I was like, I felt my energy level was just kind of like, and I was like, what's
Mm.
going on? And I talked to this friend of mine who is like a massage therapist, but she also does like Reiki and stuff like that. And she kind of helped me. She kind of drilled down it with on that with me, and said that you know what I felt in hospital before I even talked to her, and I said this out loud to myself. I'm like, you're still a little boy looking for your parents' attention.
Mhm.
And from a very young age, I realized that the only way to get my parents to notice me was to hurt myself. My parents loved me, but inside I wasn't getting enough attention.
Yeah.
And I realized my pathway that I created was like hurt equals attention. And so I've consistently really hurt myself throughout my life,
Mhm.
almost like a moth to a flame, subconsciously going into these dangerous situations.
Mhm.
And with the help of this lady, I actually texted all of those people and said, can you please delete that
Yeah,
picture I sent you?
nice.
Because I said, I've realized that I'm looking for your sympathy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it felt kind of grotesque in a way. It was like,
Yeah.
shit.
And your body felt it before your brain registered it.
Yeah, I felt like a little emptier every time I hit send.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I've realized that I have this lack of self-love, big time, and that I throw myself to the wolves willingly in as far as like overworking, not standing back and saying, "Hey, I'm not doing that. That looks dangerous.
Mm.
I'm not going up that ladder."
Mhm.
And so there's a deep kind of underpinning of just low self-worth.
I hear you trying to make sense of this with your brain,
Mm.
and I'm wondering, and that's great, but also let's go back to the 4 questions thing,
Yeah.
because it'll get at it. Because I hear you branching off into, like, some other beliefs that are
Mhm.
connected with this belief. So let's go back to, so when you believe it's all on me, you feel angry, short of breath, there's struggle, you can't grab it, there's this tired, sad, burning in your chest, frantic, multitasking, and it's, like, not pleasant multitasking, eating while walking. Question number 4. Who would you be without that thought?
Without that
You
guy?
wake without that thought. Who would you be without that thought? Say you could suddenly wake up tomorrow morning and for the first few hours that thought was disabled. Who would you be without
So
that thought? It's all on me.
I'd be a lot lighter. So I would probably be happier
That makes sense. Yeah, you'd be a lot lighter.
inside. I would feel a
Yeah.
lot lighter.
What is light? What does lighter feel like in your body? Where is it soft or open or settled?
Yeah, probably this part would go away. I'd feel like
Mhm.
lighter. My stomach wouldn't be so tight.
Mhm.
I would see what's in front of me instead of what's behind what's in front of me.
Mm.
The task.
Mm.
I would see beauty clearer, I think, because all I see is
I
tasks.
Yeah. And so I'm hearing that you would be more present in the moment.
Yes.
And you would be lighter, which would make you happier, lighter in your chest, stomach less tight, more present. How would you interact with your loved ones without that thought? It's all on me. Who would you be with your loved ones?
I think I would smile more. I think I would say yes to the whimsical thing easierly,
Hmm. More easily.
more easily.
Yeah.
Um, like, let's go to the beach. It would be like, it wouldn't be this internal death and then saying yes,
Yeah.
but there's an internal death because I can't get the task done that I planned. It would be like,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah. And what's happened to the franticness without that belief? It's all on me.
Yeah, it's definitely diminished.
And Are you eating while walking still, or are you just doing one thing at a time?
It's hard to imagine what that would feel like. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely be doing less multitasking.
Yeah, like less probably when it felt
Hmm.
frantic. Yeah. Okay. Less multitasking. Okay. Now this is what's called the turnaround, and the original four questions in the turnaround with the woman who designed this. It was just cognitive, but I bring in this more embodied thing and neuroscience. And so this is where we work with a neural pathway. And the turnaround is when we flip the original phrase and we make it the opposite, and we see if it lands as possibly more true or just as true. So the opposite would be, it's not all on me. Does that feel like it could be true? And if it doesn't, then we need to find something else. Another turnaround is, it's me on all.
That doesn't really make sense in my head.
Okay.
It's not all on me, I don't think is completely true. I don't think I can embrace that fully.
Okay. Let's work with individual words. So what's the opposite of all? It's nothing on me. That doesn't make sense either.
It's some on me.
It's some on me.
It's a little on me. It's mostly on me. Let's get it back up to all.
This turnaround is interesting because you can play with it. One of my favorite life coaches. Are you still there? I can't hear you in
Yeah, I
my
can hear you.
headphones. Okay.
That's right.
One of my favorite life coaches, Martha Beck, talks about how she wrote a book called um, Leaving the Saints, about leaving Mormonism, and she
Uh-huh.
was getting death threats, and
Uh-huh.
she did the turnaround with that fear. She got a death threat that came through a fax machine in her house in the middle of the night, and her fearful belief was, something terrible is going to happen to me. And her turnaround was, I am going to happen to something terrible, which felt more true, that her book was going to happen to something terrible, like this oppression in the Mormon
Oh,
church.
cool.
And that's kind of ultimately what set her free from that fear.
Wow.
So it's all on me.
I control nothing.
And when you say it's all, like, maybe we need to get a little bit more like dissecty with, what do you mean by all? All the tasks?
Yeah. Payroll, a mortgage, bringing business in, like all the tasks on this farm that I have created for myself.
Are dependent on you doing them.
Yeah, because the reality is, let's take this farm, this 5-acre farm that we have that was in disarray. Some people would move to this property and just move in and just let the weeds grow and cut the grass, a little bit of grass that there was, and maybe pick the apples some years, maybe not the other years, and just. But when I moved to this farm, which was my dream to have an acreage, I placed on my shoulders this huge weight of now, because I'm so creative and I don't like disorder, I am now wrestling this piece of land back to something beautiful, which is a great thing for the onlooker. And if I had an unlimited time in my head of just like, well, it gets done when it's get done, and maybe it'll never get done, that would be something you could live with. But with me, I don't like the in-between part. And so I'm obsessed with the outcome, with the finished result, with the making it all work. And like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Something interesting has happened with this four questions in the turnaround for us. So often, I would say 85% of the time when we're working with a fearful belief, we come to a place where the turnaround feels more true. And then we can wire that into someone's brain through repetition as a neural pathway. But with you, I think we've actually uncovered a truth. It is all on you because maybe you bit off more than you can chew.
Ooh, that rhymes.
Let's write a song about it.
Yeah, let's do that too. Let's add it to the pile of to-dos.
Like, we can't. So this is reality. Like, we've hit up against a point of reality.
Yes.
It is all on you because you're creative and you saw this dream and you bit off this big thing, and you are only one person. So you are living constantly beyond your capacity to do all the things.
Yes.
Does that sound true?
Yep.
So it's true. It's all on me. It's not a fearful belief. That is an actual fact.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then what? And then, you know what, Joby? This really actually feels like it does come kind of bang into ADHD, because when we are creative, well, let's take the ADHD piece out because that's complicated. But this is actually really classic ADHD behavior, is having expansive thinking, having huge ideas, having like a like a capacity for seeing so many connections and ideas and possibilities, and then banging into our limitations as one single person. So you're living beyond your capacity with this farm, and it's all on you. And then once you're aware of that, you can go, do I want to keep letting out my frustration on my loved ones, which is causing me to feel angry, short of breath, running out on time, sad, frantic, judgmental toward my loved ones, less present? Or do I want to change something about this reality? And then, that could look like any number of things: giving up the farm, hiring some help, resetting your expectations in terms of like how much you get done and in what time frame. But if you don't acknowledge this reality of it's all on me and how that's impacting you, you're going to keep living at war with yourself. So, well, that's hilarious that this didn't actually like bear the fruit that I was thinking that it was going to bear.
We can't. You're right. It's all on you. Get out there.
You have to do everything. But then we get at like a different belief. I can do all this. Because something in you believes you can do all that, and you're trying to do it all. And is that serving you to believe that you can do all that? And then every day you're living with this war inside of yourself because you're realizing you can't do it all. Is that belief, I can do all this, serving you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tangled knot because I often look at it like I was washing my hands the other day at the end of my day and looking out and of the window and kind of looking at the project I was working on. And I immediately beat myself up because at 4 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, I kind of lost it. I maybe hit my hand with a hammer or something like that. And I kind of lost it. And so, or I got overwhelmed, frustrated. And when I was washing my hands, I was like, you kind of failed again, Jobie. That's what I said to myself. I was focusing on the one 20-minute section of my day where I got frazzled. I kind of noticed it as well. I was like, why didn't you focus on the 6 hours when you were pretty chill and just doing work, going through the motions and producing? And so there's this negative side that I err towards. When I was this comes from my religious upbringing. Like when I was like 16, I was in England working, and I was a landscaper, and I built this stone wall. And I remember saying to myself, "Wow, that looks awesome," and then immediately saying, "Pride comes before a fall."
Yes.
And telling myself that could be better. It's not that great. Fearful that I was going to get. It's just like this superstition that something bad was going to happen to me because I took pride in what I had just done.
Yeah, you can't enjoy what you just did.
Yeah. So there's this
Yeah.
like I built a house on this property, right? It took me a year to build it.
Wow.
And as
You
soon
built
as,
a house?
yeah,
A whole house?
pretty much. Yeah. Me and one guy. And at the end of it, we moved in for Christmas, and that was the goal. And at the end of it, I didn't stand back, and I did a little bit say, oh, wow, I'm really happy with it. But for the most part, I just moved my gaze onto the next project. So there's just like this kind of like, this like whipping of oneself, like you got to keep your nose to the grind, keep moving forward.
Like,
Yeah.
like you can't stop. It's not safe to stop and just enjoy your accomplishments because you'll get punished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's an old neural pathway. Let's
Yeah.
make a new neural pathway for you about that. I
All
want to
right.
like land on making a new neural pathway.
All right.
Okay. So the old belief would be, let's summarize it. Would it be, I can't enjoy what I accomplish because I'll get punished?
Kind
Or
of.
it's not safe to enjoy what I accomplish?
Yeah. It's this fear, like the water's always rising. So you got to keep treading water. You got to keep,
It's not safe to enjoy my accomplishments. Does that feel true, or can we tweak it to make it more true? It's not safe to enjoy my accomplishments. It's not safe to pause and enjoy my accomplishments.
Yeah. Yeah, there's fear
Okay.
that's driving. It was driving me forward, right? It's fear.
So what do you want to believe? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to drive the car instead of it's not safe to pause and enjoy my accomplishment? How would you like to live? Think of someone you care about. Think of your kids and how you want them to be when they're in the world as adults and they accomplish something.
Yeah, just like enjoy that moment.
And why can they? Why is that right and good for them to pause and enjoy that moment?
Yeah, because they've worked hard to get there. I mean, I think I saw Gabe, my youngest boy, win a medal in biking last year. And I was just
Mhm.
so over the moon for him. And he was like, yeah, it's cool. And I think as a father, I just wanted him to like be so stoked for himself. He was stoked, but he was pretty reserved.
Yeah.
And I guess,
Maybe
uh,
he learned that from you.
yeah, yeah, there's this weird chemical thing that goes on in me that I'm like, it's the same thing with attention with accidents. Like if I do something, like I'm really doing it for people's, I've raised the bar to this height and people expect it of me. But deep down, what drives me is like, I want to be noticed again. Like I want people to say, wow, this looks so cool. And when I work and someone walks right past it, like my wife, for instance, she's probably the closest person to me that could for sure hurt me the most. And
Mhm.
she doesn't notice, and there's nothing mean about it. It's just happened. You know, she sees so much going on anyway. It's just like one of the, it like stabs me because deep down, what I really want, what I'm doing is I'm singing at the top of my lungs, hoping someone will notice me.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so my song is now my work. It's how I
Mhm.
create.
Mhm.
And when it's not noticed, there's an emptiness that comes over me.
Mhm. Can
Um,
you can you conjure that emptiness right now as you're talking to me about that? Where is that emptiness in your body? What tells you you're empty when you don't get noticed?
yeah, it's probably in my heart or something.
Can we do like just 1 minute of somatic stuff together? Just take your hand over that empty place. And now I want you to turn all your noticing attention toward that empty place in your chest. And I want you to notice it. And I want you to love that place. Just love that emptiness. And what happens in your body to that empty place as you love it? Like a,
Warms up a bit,
yeah,
it shrinks.
so it gets smaller and it warms up a bit. Why don't you give that permission to warm up as much as it wants to warm up and to be whatever size it wants to be and let yourself receive it instead of pushing it away. You're safe to let this place be warm and full. Nothing bad's going to happen. No one's going to punish you. Life's not going to turn against you. What do you notice now?
Not just peace.
What does peace feel like in your body?
It's like a relaxing my body.
What do you notice is relaxing?
It's the center here.
So just letting that be there for a few more seconds, sending that space love again. And then just take a mental snapshot of this shift that you just experienced in 90 seconds. And when you're ready, take a deep breath and come back to the space. You just noticed yourself and something shifted in this moment, which is the only moment that anything can ever happen. The past is gone, the future is just a projection.
Hmm.
This moment is where all the healing and the shifting happens. And so maybe we could just finish up that. We kind of came to the end of that original 4 questions that we were working with, but you landed on something that felt really important, which was that I can only get things done if I'm suffering or I need suffering to get things done. And you could add a question mark to the end of that. Do you need to suffer to get things done? Or could you get them done without suffering? Or could you do less and suffer less? Like this brings up a lot about how you do your life on the farm. Hey.
Yeah, do my life, period.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Push.
it kind of opens up, yeah, it opens up a whole other can of worms about how much capacity you have and how much you're overriding your capacity, which creates like all that urgency and that anger. Um, but yeah, so there's belief systems operating here, right?
Hmm.
And so back to this question of what's the neural pathway that you want to operate from? What would you like to build going forward if it's not safe to pause and enjoy my accomplishments? What do you want to wire into your mind body instead of that? Let's make a phrase. Maybe it's safe to pause and enjoy my accomplishments.
Safe to pause, period.
It's safe to pause. Yeah. That, does that feel like it's something you want to, like an address you want to go to? You should pick something like really shimmery, like something that feels really juicy.
Mm,
It's safe to enjoy my accomplishments without rushing on to the next one.
yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So write that down. It's safe to enjoy my accomplishments without rushing on to the next one. And then your job is to repeat that phrase like every day for the next week. And then taking it a step further, not just insight, but what would it feel like in your body to live that way? It's safe to enjoy my accomplishments without rushing on to the next one. can you find like a movement that might bring that into your body a little bit more? Like, what would that feel like to just go, it's safe to just pause and enjoy my accomplishments without rushing on to the next one? Just do some sort of movement or some sort of like seated position that would embody that belief. And maybe it's just a deeper breath.
It's just a stillness, just being still.
Yeah, great. So let's say that together. It's safe to enjoy my accomplishments without rushing on
Rushing
to the
to the
next thing.
next. Yeah. It's safe to enjoy my accomplishments without rushing on to the next thing.
Yeah. And then just repeat that and see. So this is what happens with neural pruning is the old pathway will die off and the new one will take precedent. And then after a while, we'll be like, how could I have ever believed that I couldn't just pause and enjoy my accomplishments? It's ridiculous. Like, how could I have ever lived that way? Sorry, my cat's getting tangled in the cord. So yeah, so that's a bit of the process of working with belief systems and starting to wire in new belief systems that I love doing with religious trauma. So people work with, beliefs like I'm going to be punished or uh, my my worth depends on how much I do, good in the world, how much good I do in the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of just like really tangly beliefs that really inform their lives. And so we work in this way to just one step at a time. And I like to think of it as like a big ship. And a big ship is, floating or navigating through the ocean. And there's this little thing on the back. I mean, I'm sure on a big ship it's bigger than this, but I'm going to call it a little thing called a rudder. And adjust the rudder like 1 millimeter, and that ship starts to head in like a totally different direction. And its arrival point is somewhere completely different than where it was headed with that little tiny rudder adjustment. That's how I like to think of these embodied beliefs changing. It's like a rudder sending our life in a totally different direction. Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I was kind of, I kind of took over there with that, but
Yeah.
after we get off this call, I have a few resources for you in terms of like ADHD and capacity that can be really, really powerful to learn about because that is classic ADHD behavior, taking on too much.
Yeah. Spinning all the plates.
Yeah, spinning all the plates.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard
it's frantic.
a little while ago, I was reading a Sylvia Plath piece in one of her books, and I'd never encountered it before. And it is, to me, it's mind blowing. And she's saying that I can't remember exactly the context because I only scanned it and then the image stayed imprinted in my brain. But Sylvia Plath was saying that her life feels like she's she's under a fig tree and she sees all these beautiful figs and she desperately wants to pick a fig. But then every time she goes to pick that one fig, she sees all the other figs and she wants them all. And so she ends up getting so paralyzed that she doesn't ever pick a fig and taste it. And she doesn't go to the next part. But what I read into that story, because my experience too is like I'm a creative and I have so many ideas that I'll never be able to execute because I am one person with 2 hands and 2 feet, and I can only get so much done in a day. What I read into that story, or what I want to tell Sylvia Plath, and she's gone, but is just pick, like, tasting one fig, you've tasted them all. The point is not to eat all the figs. The point is to savor one fig. And so I tell myself that all the time, like, Kim, the point is not to write 50 books. It's to write one book. And that one book will teach you what it's like to write a book. If you can just finish that one book. But, our brains are really working against us in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, I am very aware of it. And, yesterday, for instance, my daughter, she's on spring break and she's like, I want to go snowboarding. And it's Tuesday, right? Which in my head, the neural wiring from a time I was first started
It's a
working
work
was
day.
Monday to Friday, you got to work.
Yeah.
And I said, and she was going to go alone. And I'm like, oh, she can't be up there alone. Like not that she's not safe. I'm like, that's just sad for me. I'm like, I got to go with her. And as the thought came into my head, and the words left my mouth, I was committing to something that I actually didn't really fully want to do. Like what I wanted to do is get back to my work, my project, like finishing a project. But I knew in my head, I'm like, my daughter's going to love me if I go or I don't go. But this is a brick in the wall of our relationship that it all matters. Like these micro sacrifices, they matter in the long run. Like this memory might be small for you, but might be really big for her. And so I went, and I just kind of like, I got in the car, I put my stuff on, I drove up the hill, and I'm like, okay, I'm committed. But there was this internal fight going on, and I enjoyed my time up there, but it wasn't super easy. Like I knew this was the right decision to do. Um, I've got other friends that like, whenever there's like if it's work or pleasure, if there's a choice there, they'll always pick pleasure. Like, for sure, man. Let's crack a beer at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Sit back on the deck chair. It's like, what? So in my head, so I know that, there's always like leaving the task is always a challenge. Maybe it won't always be a challenge. I don't know. I think, but yeah, and also understanding that the humbling fact that this kind of stoic kind of way of thinking of like, we're all going to die. This will all be lost in the ether, like my music. I made 2 albums. They're sitting on Spotify somewhere, and they're just kind of like, they're out in the ocean. Like they're way out there. Like they're not getting listened to a lot, but it's, like this property, I could make this property fully amazing. I could die tomorrow and someone will just buy it and bulldoze the whole thing, or the jungle will just take it back. Like that's the humbling reality that I think is important for me to check in, like this kind of stoic, like contemplating the end of my life, contemplating the fact that sometimes I just talk to myself while I'm working. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what exactly are you trying to achieve here? Like, do you do you think this
What
is
do you
going to
want to
be
do
some like
instead?
monument and when you're gone, you're gone. You think you're going to look down from heaven and watch people looking at your monument? No, you're gone to wherever you
Well,
go
I
to.
mean, like I would unshame that a little bit because it's really beautiful that you want to make a home and a
Mm-hmm.
farm. That is wonderful. And that's like you're leaving, you would be, if you died tomorrow, you would be leaving something for your family. So being able to call that beautiful and that work worthy, and especially if you enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
and also making some time for other things that matter once in a while too.
Yeah, I think it's this continuum is a word that plays in my head a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
don't get it done this summer, you can
Yeah.
get it done next summer.
Yeah.
For me, it's got to happen now. It's like, it's all got to happen. Order,
Mm-hmm.
order. And it's just, the weeds will just keep growing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
The old neural pathway, it has to happen now.
yeah,
And then you could think, what do I want to believe instead? And you could start wiring that neural pathway into your brain. What do you want to believe instead?
yeah.
Like sometimes even that step is hard to
Just,
decide how you want to live instead, and making that unconscious conscious. Like
yeah.
just does anything come to mind right now in this moment? Like how would you like to live instead?
It's hard because it feels like a foreigner. Like that thought feels like a foreigner, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the opposite way of folding your hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it
It's hard
feels
to
in the
imagine
brain.
myself. I mean, I'd like to be more like I am on vacation.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, well, I mean, speaking of spectrum, so over here we've got vacation Joby. Over here on this side, we've got like frantic, eating while walking, multitasking, feeling angry and resentful and judgmental Joby. And then like, what could you pick somewhere along here? Or could it be a little bit fluid? Like sometimes it's over here. Like, is there something that would feel safe that's not like this awful feeling one?
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be like vacation Joby. Like, what's
Yeah.
something in between
Maybe I need to
that you
smoke
could?
more weed.
That's always the solution.
Yeah, I think just like stop running, start walking, like just
That sounds
run.
like a good
Yeah.
mantra maybe to be with.
Like
Stop
walk from A to
running.
B, don't run from A to B.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
move through your day in more of a fluid, this time piece is big, like this tick, tick, tick. There's a constant
Yeah.
clock ticking. You know,
Yeah.
how much should I get in 8 hours? Like, this is eating into my productive time.
Yeah.
Um, eh, like, somehow, like, the only way I built this house, and I actually found this really sweet spot because the task was massive. And everyone kept saying, "When are you going to get done? When are you going to get done? What's the projected move-in day?" And I just would say back to them, there is no move-in date. Because I knew in my head if I put that in, it would be nervous breakdown type of stress.
Yeah.
And and I just managed to, like, all I said is, all I'm going to do is I'm going to work 8 hours a day. I'm going to get up from the trailer. I'm going to walk across the property and I'm going to put 8 good hours of work in a day, and it gets done when it gets done.
That sounds very sober.
Yeah. And I managed to hold that path for 12 months and just plug away. And I didn't get frantic. And I kind of it was just about this, like, this organizing in my head. I was like, nothing else on the farm is as important as getting this home finished. So the rest of it can just go to hell right now. My focus is this home. And I entered this place of rest in the middle of physical
Yeah.
work. I was in this physical place of rest because the task was so massive that I knew I couldn't get it done in a week and a day and in a couple hours. Like, it was a year project.
Hmm.
And it is interesting to me how that happened.
Well, the power of focus, like
Yeah, that's the ADD piece, right? That, like,
yeah.
do one
Yeah.
job and then move on to the
Yeah.
next. But I'll be like, and I got friends that have property and it's the same thing. Like, you'll be walking to get a screwdriver and you see a pile of leaves and you pick up a rake and start raking. And then all of a sudden you've added another job to your list. And so now
Yeah.
you've got to get the screwdriver and rake leaves. And
Yeah.
then it's this chaos.
Yeah. Too many things in the brain, too many like thoughts firing in different directions, and it makes us fractured. Fractures our attention, and then we're not putting that attention into, because it's powerful when we channel our attention into one direction, we can
Yeah.
get a lot done.
Yeah. Writing a
Yeah.
book. You've written a book, right? Or are you writing a book?
Yeah, I've been writing a few books for a while.
That must be
Um,
really, like, you really got to focus.
it is. It is. And then, I mean, what's interesting is the book that I was working on for a long time was a memoir about growing up religious and having a faith crisis, and it ended up showing up as the work that I'm doing now, which was like a total out of left field thing. I
Hmm.
did not even see that coming, that I would be working with people with religious trauma. I'd still like to finish that book, but and I don't know if this happens to you. I think it's you were kind of alluding to it with that rake, seeing the rake and then being like, oh, and now I need to pick up the rake. But like creatively too, the further down the road you go, the more it branches off into all the options, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, now I want to like write a screenplay. Now I want to write a one man show, and now like I'm picturing this self help book, and like, and then you could just go berserk with all the options. So it's like continually just reining back your attention to one or two things. It's so painful, so
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you have a dream in your mind, you see it, and then you know that your hands can do it. So you have the ability to write a song, a book, a poem, a screenplay, and then having to tell yourself, yeah, but you can't do it. I mean, that's frustrating. As a creative person, I find that
yeah,
frustrating. It's like, I
yeah,
know I have the ability, I see the dream in my mind, and I don't have the
yeah.
time or the resources to be able to create that.
In somatic work, we call that capacity.
Mm,
So capacity is how much space is in this container that I'm holding.
mhm,
So right now there's like a little bit of water. So the capacity is like there's a lot of space for something else in there. So like on a scale of 1 to 10, the capacity is like there's a 9 capacity because there's hardly anything in this cup. But if I were to fill this cup with like half coffee, it would be down to 50% capacity.
mhm,
So our nervous systems are containers. Our bodies are containers.
mhm.
And so if and our capacity can be full or empty depending on so many different things, like the weather, um, how our hormones are doing that month, how draining or not draining our kids are being, whether we had the flu 3 weeks ago, like so many things can affect our capacity. And so I think my experience too of having an ADHD wired brain is that I see a lot of capacity, but I am just one body. I have this much. I can only fit however much goes in this container. And yet I constantly believe that I have like a huge vat.
Right.
And it's just not true. So am I going to live at war with myself on a continual basis? Or am I going to say, this is how much capacity I have? What am I going to put in there? I have one life. I have a finite number of hours in my life and in my days. What am I going to put in there? And so
Mhm.
this process of like honoring our capacity and not trying to override it all the time is a huge piece,
Yeah.
a very challenging piece of living with these neurodivergent brains.
Yeah, I've heard Rogan who has say this many, many times. And it's interesting because he's a man with huge resources and huge offers to do whatever he wants. And he's like, I just picture it as bandwidth. I have a certain amount of bandwidth, energy in my battery.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, why don't you do this, man? You've got all this like pull, like you could pull millions of people in this direction or that direction. He's like, I don't want the bandwidth. Like I want to be a good dad. I want to
Mm-hmm.
stay married to my wife. I love comedy and I love this podcast, and the rest of it has to just burn because
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do those 5 things really well. And
Mm-hmm.
it must be hard for a person who actually has the resources and to actually say, yeah, I just can't do that. I can't go down that road. I can't help that person. I just stay in this lane. And I
Yeah.
admire that.
Mm-hmm.
So often we're trying to impress the crowd, but we ignore our children that are right in front of us or something, or the community that's like, I want more friends. Well, do you have one friend? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just that's all you
Mm-hmm.
need.
Mm-hmm.
But I want a big
Mm-hmm.
crowd of friends. It's like, you only need one friend. Let's just focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we can see it in our children, but it's hard to see it in ourselves. I can't stress the importance enough of repetition.
Right.
So, like, I hope that you'll be with that phrase. And maybe another phrase is like a mantra that you can say as you're working, like,
Mm,
I release, um, here's what's coming to me. Working frantically no longer serves me. I embrace ease
mm.
or something like that. Like, so you're still getting the work done. You're still like putting in your 8 hours, but you're not doing it like frantically anymore. You're doing it with ease, like what you said.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, of just feeling so clear and can't remember how you worded it earlier, but
I like that. I like that because you're kind of like, you have to discipline these old pathways, right? No, I don't live there anymore.
yeah,
I mean, in a loving way, but it's like, yeah, that no longer serves me.
yeah,
And I think it's like taking control. I can see how that's taking control of the rudder because it feels like sometimes I'm being controlled by these
yeah,
not so great wiring systems. And sometimes often I just let it run amok.
yeah,
At the end of the day, I'm like lying in bed thinking, shit, I let it get away on me again,
yeah,
you know? Because I know when I lie in bed,
relate.
like last night, I'm like, that whole sacrifice of going to snowboard, which some people think that's bonkers. Why would that be a sacrifice on a Tuesday? At the end of the day, if I hadn't have gone, oh man, I'd have felt rotten.
Mhm.
I'd just be like, I knew at the end of the day, that is the better choice. You feel, not being frantic is, I feel like pat on the back. Yeah, you worked the whole day and you like took a nice long lunch. I feel, happy with myself. But often
Yeah,
I take my foot off the brake and I think, yeah, that's that repetition that you're talking about. It's like being firm
yeah,
with it, saying, no, 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 this is not how we work anymore.
yeah, yeah, and you have to do that 7 or 8 or 10 times, like, "No, this is not where I live anymore." Turn the car around, head in the direction you wanna head,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to feel wrong. It's going to feel uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
um, for the first several times, but then something happens after a little while, and you start to notice, "This feels better." I mean, if it feels worse, then you picked the the wrong address, right, to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But if it feels better, then what happens then is we get another system to kick in, which is like the reward system in the brain
Mm-hmm.
of getting some really good feeling neurotransmitters happening when we make that connection in the brain and it's feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the neuro pathway really starts to myelinate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when that kid is bringing the cup up to their lips and finally they're not just getting it in their mouth, but now they're doing it and like by themselves, or they're getting like a really yummy juice.
The
There's
payoff.
the payoff.
Hmm.
There's a whole system of reward that happens in the brain. And that is what really gets us to that kind of away from that discomfort of like, oh, I keep forgetting to do this, to like, this is actually how I just do things now.
Hmm.
And then you look back and you go, yeah, why did I ever think that being frantic served me? It just stole from me. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. The destination is the same. It's like, how do you want to get there?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can build this house frantically, or you can build this house chill.
And part of you, I think, I'm suspecting, believes that you're going to get there sooner, faster if you do it frantically. And I would press on that and go, is that true?
Hmm.
Or is something else true?
Hmm.
That you could do it with ease and it would get done just as fast, or maybe even faster, because your brain now has access to creativity, curiosity, connection, and is not stuck in that narrow-minded fight flight place.
Hmm.
You could maybe get it done faster. Should experiment. Should like try a week of just being frantic no longer serves me. I am doing this with ease and focus, and see how it goes. Yeah. I'm excited about your life. I think it's beautiful. I think that you've made some really beautiful decisions about how to live in this crazy world where people are making decisions to harm the earth and,
Hmm.
be disconnected from roots and land. I think that you are making really beautiful decisions. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Well, we're planning on building this big 30-foot, or I am, this dome
I am by
structure.
myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm also converting my barn right now into it because Tara, my wife, is getting her breathwork practitioner's license.
Oh, nice.
And so our hope is that this place can be used for facilitators like yourself, like if you had a group.
Mm,
So that's the goal.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're not just growing vegetables and stuff. We're wanting to actually build a place that people can use to help people in different modalities.
It sounds incredible, Joby.
So maybe you'll end up here.
I would love that. Let's do something in the future when your barn is built. When the barn is built.
The barn is raised.
The barn building. Yeah. Is that what it's called? Barn raising? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kim, thanks so much. I didn't expect it to take that route, but
Yeah.
hey, man, I'll take some free therapy any day.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I'm excited.
it's so funny because it's like,
Oh, I lost your visual. There you
I
go.
was just going to say, it's like, you remember when you had kids? I remember when I first had kids, and I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those people that just talk about their kids all the time. That's boring. But then you're like deep in it, and the only conversations you find yourself having are like conversations about parenting. And you're
Yeah.
like, what has happened to me?
Yeah.
I feel a little bit like that right now with this work that I'm doing. It's really all I really want to talk about. So thanks for letting me have this conversation with you.
No, I think it's great work
That's
that you're
fun.
doing, and you have a really really nice way of getting to the point. Like I feel like you're in the now. You could see the path taking a different route. So yeah,
Mm,
I enjoyed that.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thanks for being my guinea pig today.
Oink oink.
I don't think guinea pigs oink.
Oh
Last I
no,
checked,
they
guinea
grunt.
pigs don't.
Maybe they grunt.
Yeah.
There's lots of fowl. It's like we have goats, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, goats eat everything." No, they don't. They're really picky.
Are they?
Yeah, I give them stuff, and they smell it, and yeah, I'll take that piece, not that piece. I'm like, I thought you're supposed to eat people's laundry.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the picky little
Do
thing.
they eat your laundry?
They're not allowed even close to it. They're in a field.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
We have goats, chickens, and ducks. I
Mm.
recently learned that ducks are dumber than chickens. Next level. They're cuter. They're way more
Oh.
personality than chickens. Chickens kind of not much of a personality, but ducks they waddle, and they're,
Ducks are dumber. I never would have guessed that. I thought they were really intelligent creatures. Huh,
well, dumb in a
okay.
funny way. Like chickens know at dusk, get in and get on the roost because we're going to get killed by a predator. So they're in their house on the roost as soon as the sun goes down. I go out there at 11 o'clock at night and all the ducks are sitting in the middle of the field every night. I'm like, and then I push them into their little pen and they look at it like they've never seen it in their life. I'm like, that's the door.
Huh.
You went there yesterday and the day before, and they just walk
Mhm.
around it and past it and up. Yeah, it's a good
Those
test.
cute little ducks.
It's a test of patience for a person like me. Like, come on.
Oh. You're like, "I've got shit to do. I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
time to, like."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All
Okay,
right.
well, I'm wishing you a week of ease.
Thanks, Kim. Great chatting
Okay,
with you.
bye. Yeah,
Okay.
you too. Bye.
Bye.